Adobe has had a big week with announcements ranging from Creative Suite version 6 to a Creative Cloud service. The company has experienced a number of changes over the last year, but these recent developments help to strengthen its new focus on marketing professionals. And in one of the most distinguishing elements of these latest updates, Adobe is offering its cloud and desktop software services together for a monthly fee. So to find out how this and other aspects of the announcements will work, we're going to bring in Heidi Voltmer, the Director of Product Marketing at Adobe. Thanks for joining us today, Heidi.
Thank you. I'm really glad to be here.
Great. Well, let's start just by talking about the Creative Suite. Can you briefly explain what's new with it?
Sure. So this is our Creative Suite 6 launch. And with it, we've got an entire new lineup of all of our Creative Suite products. So we have a brand new version of Photoshop, and that's huge because it's our first new version of a complete release of Photoshop in 2 years. We've also got updates to all of our great flagship products like Adobe Dreamweaver, Adobe Flash Professional, Adobe InDesign and Illustrator, as well as our great suite of video tools, including Premiere Pro, After Effects, and 2 new video products, SpeedGrade and Prelude.
Wow. Well, I understand with this Creative Suite, there are really 4 focus areas.
Yes, there are. So in terms of looking at how our features line up in the products, the first area that we really focused on was on speed and performance. So we focused here on getting some more of our products, Adobe Illustrator, to be native 64-bit, as well as working on our graphics playback engines. So we, in previous versions of the Creative Suite, had worked on the graphics playback engine with the Mercury Performance Engine in our video products. We brought that Mercury technology into 2 new products, into Photoshop and Illustrator. So now when you're editing images or making changes, you'll actually see them appear just really quickly on the screen instead of having to wait for it to redraw. After looking at the performance of our products, we also looked at those magical features that you've come to expect from Adobe. So in this space, we've got a couple of great things in Photoshop. We've got new additions to our content aware technology. We've got a new crop tool, as well as it's called the tilt shift filter. So this is something in the past where you actually had to buy a special lens for your camera to take these pictures. Now you can actually create the same kind of compositions using Photoshop CS6. And then we also focused on making sure that the content that comes out of the Creative Suite is ready for devices, so really focusing on making the content responsive, especially around the HTML space with our Dreamweaver CS6 release and the fluid grid layout feature there. And then finally, we focused on updating the user interface of the product, so making sure that they're very clean, that we've tightened up the tooling so it's really easy for our customers to use the products, and to focus on what they're doing creatively in the tool and not so much about where they have to find a particular item in a panel.
Right. Well, Adobe also launched its cloud offering, Adobe Creative Cloud. So what does this bring to the table?
Sure. So Creative Cloud is an even broader initiative than the Creative Suite. And with it, this is a membership-based program that you can sign up for, and customers pay on an ongoing basis to receive access to all of the products in the master collection, so all those Creative Suite 6 products, as well as a variety of publishing services that allow them to publish their content out in multiple formats. And the great thing with the Creative Cloud is that we'll be adding new products into it and new services over time. So it's not just like today where you buy a single box and you don't see anything new from Adobe for 12 to 24 months. With the Creative Cloud, you actually get those updates on an ongoing basis. And over time, in addition to products, we'll even have a community area to help our customers find inspiration and get support and training.
Well, last year when we spoke to Adobe about the launch of CS 5.5, the company was also introducing a new and different payment model. So what type of feedback have you received from these changes, and how has this model really progressed further with this subscription service?
Sure. So last year we rolled out a pilot of just individual product subscriptions. So you got to pay on a monthly or month-by-month basis for the annual contract, and you just got the product itself. So you just bought a subscription for Photoshop, you just bought a subscription maybe for one of our suites. And these were priced much higher. So, if you wanted to buy a subscription for the suite, you're paying $129 a month. What we did with the Creative Cloud is, the feedback was, well, it's great to have the flexibility to either buy and pay monthly or just to get something for a short time if you maybe have a short-term project, but the price was a little too high. So what we did with the Creative Cloud is we evolved the models to lower the price, first of all, and second of all, add in additional value. So it wasn't just the software itself, but it was also those services again, it was support, I didn't mention it before, but with the Creative Cloud, you also get cloud-based storage. So we really kind of evolved into giving our customers more at a lower price point.
That's great. Well, I understand that Adobe has a specific focus on teachers and students with these updates. Can you tell us about this?
Sure. So we've always focused on the education market. We're very committed to helping develop the next generation of creative customers and creative designers, producers, everyone like that. So we do offer special pricing for students. We even actually announced at our launch event on Monday, the 23rd of April, that we're actually even starting a scholarship fund through the Adobe Youth Voices initiative at Adobe for $1 million for high school seniors who want to go in and study the creative arts. And it can be, it doesn't have to be an Adobe education. It could be studying painting, other things like that. But we're really committed to helping develop the next generation of creative people.
Right. Well, also late last year, Adobe announced that it was positioning Flash for high-end video uses. So how do these announcements further lead to this goal?
Sure. So we actually decided to focus Flash on two areas. The video, like you mentioned, premium video, paid video, as well as high-end gaming. And what we've done with the new release of Flash Professional CS6 is that there's a little bit around that, but we've also tried to help customers who are using Flash Professional today with a bridge to creating more of that basic interactive content with HTML5. So we've got a great feature as an extension onto Flash Professional called the Toolkit for Create.js. So it allows you to take your Flash content and export out the assets, and then being able to animate those externally out of Flash Pro with HTML. So we're really trying to help our Flash customers to transition into animating and creating interactivity with HTML.
So really that there is a greater emphasis put on HTML5 with these updates as well?
Definitely. Like I mentioned, we do have that feature in Flash Professional CS6. In addition, our Dreamweaver offering with the CS6 release of Dreamweaver has, a continued emphasis on HTML. Like I mentioned, we have the great new feature called Fluid Grid Layouts, and that really helps you to design web content that's fluidly scales from being on a large desktop monitor down to a tablet, even down to a smartphone, and allows the designer to control within the Dreamweaver pages in the creation what is moved around where as the page scales down using media queries in CSS.
Right. Well, incidentally, new research from Adobe's State of Create Global Benchmark study found that 8 in 10 people feel that unlocking creativity is important for economic growth. So can you talk more about this study and really its implications?
Sure. So, what we really focused on there was trying to get behind our customers' minds and how they view creativity and how important it is to them. And I think this informs some of the things that you've seen in our products. So the idea of streamlining complex workflows. So another feature I haven't mentioned is in Illustrator around pattern creation. This is something where in the past, creating a pattern in Illustrator was very tedious. You had to remember something like 14 steps to get this done, or 15 steps. Our goal was to really let the designer think about how do they want the pattern to look? What are the colors? What's the relationship of the individual elements in the pattern? So we really streamlined that down to many fewer steps so they can focus on the being creative and not about, oh, if I move this over here, I've got to redo 10 steps in the program. In addition, like I mentioned with the scholarship fund, we're really wanting to help new students come up, get the education they need to become a creative professional. So, the creativity really helps drive not just the product development, but also our charitable foundation acts.
That's great. Well, this new focus that Adobe has on essentially marketing, how does it help to unify really all of the company's audiences?
Yeah, so the way we look at it really is a continuum. So we have, the digital the digital media side where you have all of your content creation. You have the ability to get things out of the content that you might actually even sell and monetize. And then we have the marketing side, the digital marketing side, where we actually want to be able to track that content and really look at its effectiveness and whether it's actually in revenue or it's in social impressions. By bringing those two pieces together, we offer a much more broad and integrated solution that not only sells to, say, our customers in a creative department or at an agency, but also people on the business side. So we're offering a range of Adobe tools that can serve an entire enterprise.
Well, what type of impact does Adobe think that this shift, and particularly in regards to these announcements, will have really on both the end users and the company itself?
Well, I think our end users are just going to be delighted with what they can get from not only the Creative Suite 6 products, but also from the Creative Cloud. I think that the most interesting thing when we talk to customers about the shift to the cloud is that they're excited to hear what they get initially in the Creative Cloud with all of the Creative Suite 6 tools and some of the publishing services, like the ability to publish websites on our Business Catalyst platform, or the ability to sync and store into the cloud. But they're very interested in what's coming next in the cloud. So we've already made announcements about some of those things, like we will have Lightroom 4 coming into the Creative Cloud. So if you're a Creative Cloud member, as soon as that's available, it'll come right in. You get it as part of your existing monthly fee. You don't pay more. They've heard about things like our PhoneGap Build service, about our digital publishing suite. So just the idea that they're kind of locked in at a price, and they know they're going to get not only the Creative Suite applications, but additional services kind of continually coming in is really exciting for them. It also gives them the opportunity, because they do have all of the tools in the cloud, to pick and choose what they need for each of their projects. They don't have to decide up front, well, I'm only going to get certain Creative Suite tools because I've got a budget and that's all I really need now, but later if I want to, I'll have to come back and pay more. They've got that great flexibility to try out new technologies as well. So somebody who's a print designer can dabble more in the web space. Somebody who's a web web designer can maybe try out a video tool and bring video into some of their projects, and so on.
All right. It's great information, Heidi. Thank you so much for talking with us about it. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I'm really glad to give you all the information about the Creative Cloud and Creative Suite 6 today.
Great. And for more information on these announcements, visit adobe.com. I'm Abby Johnson reporting for WebProNews.